Hi folks, I'm Dr. Ed Beyer. Today we're going to talk about what are the symptoms or signs of leaky gut syndrome, because I've been spending a lot of time talking about it. We talked about the 7 causes of leaky gut, number 1 being inflammation, and number 2 being medications. We're going to cover the other 5 on some other videos, but today I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about number 1, what does leaky gut syndrome lead to, and let's talk about some of the symptoms, because you know, people come to me, Dr. Beyer, I don't know, do I have leaky gut or don't I have? Well, we can test for it, because there's different types and there's different severities, and we do that. But let's go over some of the symptoms. First, I want to cover what does it actually do. When we have our gut barrier break down, it's like having holes in your screen door on a hot summer day. Things start to make their way into the home that don't belong, and you can go around being like the immune system, killing the bugs, knocking over the lamp, hitting your kids, you know, whatever, when you can just fix the screen door. And so we see this in chronic illness. People are chronically inflamed. They got neurological problems. And we know in part a lot of that can be due to the barrier system in the gut being broken down. So what happens is we get little microscopic holes in that one layer lining in our small intestine, and undigested food particles now start to make their way into the bloodstream, and the immune system doesn't like that. The immune system looks at things that are foreign, and it looks at the weight of things. So if the food, even if it's a good food, asparagus or corn, or corn may not be good, but like vegetables and fruits, you may be reacting to some of those if you have severe leaky gut. So undigested food particles, toxic waste products from fermentation and different chemical reactions that occur in the gut, and certain bacteria. Gram-negative bacteria form these biofilms in the gut, and they can leak through into the immune system. That's a topic for another day. But these leak through the intestines into the bloodstream, and then it sets off some negative things. Number 1, you're going to get an excessive immune response. The immune system doesn't like these things in your body, so it's going to react to them and try to remove them. And it's also, this is a huge trigger to autoimmune disease. So it's something that we always check for in autoimmune disease. Some of the scientific literature says you cannot have an autoimmune disease unless you have leaky gut first. Now, the other thing that will happen with leaky gut is we're going to have gut inflammation. When the tissue starts to break down, you're going to have some inflammation. Just like if you hit yourself with a hammer, you're going to have inflammation. So gut inflammation means our ability to absorb our nutrients is decreased and diminished, and we'll get gastrointestinal symptoms like bloating, constipation, diarrhea, gas, acid reflux, symptoms like that. But when we don't absorb, we can develop these nutritional deficiencies, and that will set off a lot of symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, and you name it. So you need to be aware. Many of my patients come in, I'll say, you have a vitamin D deficiency or B12 deficiency, and they're like, how can that be? I'm taking that as a supplement, because they're not absorbing it. So not enough doctors look at the functioning of the gut and how important it is. Look, the gut is for 2 reasons, especially the small intestine is there to get things into the body, nutrients that we need to live, and also to eliminate things out of the body. So it's kind of like a 2-way highway, and it does both of those. So let's get to some of the 10 most common symptoms of leaky gut syndrome. Chronic diarrhea, constipation, gas, and bloating. Now, I want my people that are watching this to understand that's not the only cause of these symptoms, but it is a major cause that we see quite commonly. Nutritional deficiencies, like we just discussed, a poor immune system, because your immune system is so busy fighting off these things that are making their way into the system that don't belong. Headache, brain fog, memory loss, because, as we mentioned before, when the gut is inflamed and it breaks down the gut barrier, the brain becomes inflamed, because the same antibodies that are breaking your gut barrier down are also breaking the same proteins down in the blood-brain barrier. Excessive fatigue, because we're not absorbing our nutrients. Skin problems, rashes, acne, eczema, rosacea. Folks, when we have a problem in one area of our immune system, like in our gut, it will at some point manifest itself in the other areas where our immune system's at, like our skin, our sinuses, our lungs. You know, people who are chronically coughing up phlegm, they got chronic sinus problems, they got chronic skin problems, and then we have a separate immune system in our brain. So problems in the immunity and the immune system in the gut can manifest themselves in our skin, sinuses, throat, lungs, and brain, other areas where the immune system's at. cravings for sugar and carbohydrates, because when we get overgrowth of certain bacteria and yeast, these microorganisms crave those things, and so your body's going to crave them. We're going to get inflammation in the body, so arthritic pain, joint pain, muscle pain. Pain, there's a lot of reason for pain, but when you have pain, when someone has pain, it doesn't mean the joint itself is bad. It could be just systemic inflammation that's causing it. And this is one of the main reasons. Depression, anxiety, ADD, ADHD, because of the effects of the connection between the gut and the brain. And autoimmune disease like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, celiac, Hashimoto's, you name it. The leaky gut is the gateway to autoimmune disease and inflammation. I'm Dr. Ed Beyer. I hope that helps. Have a great day.